Chainsaw. That's right. Man chops off his own mother's arms with a chainsaw. This sounds like some insane, weird script written by someone in Hollywood, but it's not. It's real. It's the city of New Orleans. That's right. In the city of New Orleans, a man last month, in the month of July, was having a disagreement with his mother, motive unknown to this moment, but according to the New Orleans Police Department, at some point or another, he decided to go into a rage fit, and I don't know they hadn't released complete step-by-step details, but somewhere along the line, he goes into, I'm assuming, the garage or wherever he had his chainsaw stashed, and he got it. I guess he gassed it up, he primed up the button, he cranked it up, and whatever his mother did him was enough to offend him, so he went chopped off his mother's arm. What makes a man do that? I don't know, but it's something that we got to think as ourselves that there are people in society who are struggling with so much mental health disabilities and issues that they're willing to go into the extreme of cranking up a chainsaw. Has anybody ever taken the time to actually start up a chainsaw? It's not an easy task sometimes. Sometimes they don't prime right. Sometimes it takes a bunch of times you got to pull that crank, you know what I mean? You got to pull that wire, over and over again. And sometimes they still don't start. Sometimes there's an issue with the oil gas mixture and they don't want to start correctly. So it takes a lot of effort to commit to using a chainsaw as a weapon, but especially using a chainsaw as a weapon against someone you love, such as a family member, and even more so, your own mother. The woman, I believe, if I remember correctly, was 70 years old. Now, the guy who did it, who was arrested for it, he's on bond, like a $300,000 bond or something like that. To me, that's too cheap. I don't think, and most people can't make $300,000 bonds. And he's, somebody from New Orleans. He's poor, whatever. It doesn't matter. $300,000, it should be $3 million. Because if you're willing to do that to your own mother, what you gonna do to somebody else who's sitting next to you who you don't even know? Yeah, that's something to think about. But this wasn't his first time. He actually had a previous arrest record of attacking somebody who was 73 years old. That's right. This dude has a history of going after elderly people and causing them violence. He was arrested in last year in 2023, from what I remember, for an assault on a 73-year-old, and his mother's 70. So he obviously has issues with attacking people who are elderly, and this guy is in his 30s. He doesn't need to be on the street. He needs to be locked up. And if they can't put him in a mental institution, and put him in a state penitentiary. Who can disagree with this? At some point or another in society, we got to say we're going to defend those most innocent and vulnerable. And if somebody's attacking the elderly, they don't get to get back out. They need to get sentenced to a harsh and long sentence. You can't go around attacking 70-something-year-old people and still be free on the street. What's wrong with the way we do things in society? We need to reevaluate how we do stuff in society and how we have laws that are or are not beneficial to people as dangerous as a man who's willing to use a chainsaw on his own mother. They said the lady, back when the articles were written, I hadn't kept up with this case, but I remember it was something that I saw, and I said, I got to put this on Southern Crime and Incarceration because this is a disturbing case. But from what I understand, one of her arms was completely severed off, and she was in critical condition. And in the process of that, when they went to arrest him, he fought with the police officers, and he caused one police officer to have some back injuries and possibly a broken leg, and another one he bit. That's right, he's biting people too. This guy, I think, I'm a Christian, and I follow Holy Scripture. So that being said, some people can be demonically possessed. And it sounds like that this guy might be demonically possessed. He's attacking older people. He's attacking his own 70-year-old mother with a chainsaw. He is biting people. He can't be controlled. He goes off in fits of rage, and he's walking around in society. Not now, thank God. He's locked up in Orleans Parish Prison somewhere. But with how messed up our judicial system is, especially in New Orleans, they don't tend to get it right often. No telling if this dude's going to walk again and cause and attack another 70-something-year-old person. We need to be aware of our surroundings at all times, and we need to let our loved ones know, who especially are elderly, that they need to be careful on where they do and don't go. You don't have to be scared. No, you shouldn't lock yourself up in your house, but you got to be aware of your surroundings at all times, especially in inner cities and major cities, because the reality is that most of the violent crimes that are happening in major inner cities. That's just the reality. That's just what it is. Don't know why. It's where most people are congested at. Therefore, the chances of a violent crime happening per 100,000 people are much higher than a place maybe in the country where they don't even have 100,000 people that live. And New Orleans is a small city, by the way. It's not a large city. But the amount of violence that happens in New Orleans makes you wonder. We have a depraved society, a society that doesn't respect law and order for a lot of different reasons, which we'll talk about as the time goes on. But I believe also a society that is under the influence of spiritual warfare, demonic attacks. You don't do stuff like this to your mother and you're someone who's in your right mind. Obviously, there's something off. So, what say you? Share your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think the system should lock this guy up for the rest of his life? Do you think he deserves another chance, by being put in a mental institution where he's going to deal with psychiatrists who can evaluate him over time till he's ready to be released back into society? Or should they lock him up and throw away the key? I think they need to lock him up for a long time, because the risk is too high on him harming and hurting someone else that is 70 plus years old. Anyway, thanks for watching Southern Crime and Incarceration. Give me a thumbs up, a like, subscribe to my channel as I do my best to get this thing going. Thank you.